Barnstable Municipal Airport will conduct a disaster drill. The Department of Public Works is getting ready for winter, and we find out what's happening at the Barnstable Police Department on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, October 27th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mannel. Barnstable Municipal Airport is planning a large-scale drill that will take over the airport grounds on Wednesday night. Required every 3 years, the drill is designed to simulate a disaster at the airport.
It's a large emergency drill that we do every 3 years to simulate an airport disaster, if you will, crash on the airfield, so that we can prepare, and we work with hand in glove with the Hyannis Fire Department, and then to help us coordinate it, and then every other EMS operation and disaster response agency on the Cape, federal and state, all participate in it. So it's a massive drill, and we always want to get the word out to the folks in town so that they're not alarmed when they see all of the red lights flashing and blue lights flashing over here at the airport.
The drill is scheduled to begin between 4:30 and 5 Wednesday evening, and the drill will last about 2 to 4 hours. The Barnstable Department of Public Works is making sure the town is ready for winter. DPW Director Dan Santos says crews will focus first on landscaping.
And a lot of this work involves our grounds crews, and we have, you may have noticed, around the town there's many islands, that areas. So this year we're actually been taking out all the vegetation in those islands, at least the ones we maintain. Because actually some are maintained by Adopt-a-Spot programs, and that's something we could probably talk about in the future, but we do have a number of locations where people can adopt them and plant with our guidance and take care of those. But the ones that we manage, we've kind of stripped out some of the old dying and decaying vegetation and reloamed and seeded those, and that's been a major project this winter. We do, the flower bed cleanouts. We do final mowing, leaf raking and removal. We have many irrigation systems in the town, and in the fall we have to blow those lines out. You can't leave water in those over the winter because they would freeze and burst. That's a big project that we work on.
Santos says another project done in the fall is catch basin cleaning.
And they're made to take water away, but with that water comes sand and grit and other things and leaves, and so they have a sump in them, and you want to make sure you keep those cleaned out so the water can travel. And we annually have a contract to clean a number of those. There's thousands and thousands of them in the town, and we try to do them every couple of years, or if they clog up as needed. But that's one of our ongoing projects.
Santos says crews will also focus on facility exterior maintenance.
We try to wrap up some exterior maintenance before it gets too cold, and that's we tackle a building at a time, and we've been working down at the Bismore Marina building there, replacing missing and rotted trim and painting. That's probably the other big thing that we're doing, is getting that work wrapped up so that in the winter, we're working indoors.
And Santos says all of the winter preparation is going to make it easier for crews once spring rolls around again. Police are investigating a stabbing. Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin gets details on this and other incidents from Police Chief Paul McDonald.
Chief, a number of things to discuss today. We'll start off by talking about a stabbing that occurred over the weekend. And this is the one, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, where the victim showed up at the door of Cape Cod Hospital.
Correct. Happened Saturday night, just a little past 9 o'clock. The victim was identified as Christopher Nickerson. He was walking in the area of East Main Street by Lewis Bay Road, which is a short distance from Cape Cod Hospital. He alleges that he heard two people arguing what appeared to be a domestic. He went in there to try to step between them, to try to calm the situation down. The male individual turned and confronted him, and as he did, he made a slicing motion with a knife and cut him in the abdomen. And it was a little more serious than a normal stab wound because it was a slicing wound, it was a gaping wound as opposed to a puncture wound, which is what we usually refer to as a stabbing. He was very fortunate that he was that close to Cape Cod Hospital. He was able to walk to Cape Cod Hospital, but he has a sizable amount of his intestines was actually hanging out of his abdomen because of the slicing wound. So he's very fortunate. He's still in the hospital and still in serious condition.
Ouch. And is investigation continuing? Do we know who the stabber was at this point?
Right now, we've only been able to talk to him one time. The suspect is described as a light-skinned, tall, thin, black male, and the female was a heavy-set white female. We were out there canvassing the area yesterday, and we are looking for any possible videos or witnesses to the altercation. Right now, we're able to find nothing.
Indeed, certainly lucky that this gentleman was, as you said, so close to the hospital. And I guess a fair warning that don't get involved in other people's arguments.
It was a significant wound. The best thing for him to do was to call the police, let the police handle it.
Absolutely. Chief, a couple of pretty serious motor vehicle accidents over the weekend as well. One, a young man, he's very lucky, I think, to not be injured. And that was the Great Marsh Road crash that I'm referring to.
That was Great Marsh Road crash. That happened just a little bit after midnight on Saturday morning. And the reason for its attention is because of the heroic aspects of one of the neighbors, Ben Hughes, who was living at 187 Great Marsh Road. The incident occurred. We do not know what the cause of the accident was. The individual who was the operator, Sean Alto, is being summoned in for operating to endanger, operating under the influence of alcohol. The vehicle veered off the road. It was a one vehicle crash. There were no other vehicles involved in it. It was about 6 to 8 feet off the roadway. Upon slamming into the tree, the vehicle caught fire. The neighbor, Mr. Hughes, ran from his house, and he was able to pull the young man out of the vehicle before it became fully engulfed in flames. So it was he's a very fortunate young man, and Mr. Hughes, he deserves a lot of credit for doing the right thing, getting out there. Otherwise, this would have been a disaster for the young man.
Absolutely. Again, though, serves as a reminder that really not a good idea to get behind the wheel of your car after you've had significant amounts of alcohol.
Right. He was transported to Cape Cod Hospital, but he will be summoned in to answer the charge of operating on the motor vehicle, operating on the influence of alcohol, and to operate to endanger.
Indeed, Chief. A couple of other accidents to talk about.
Well, the other one was pretty significant last Thursday afternoon, just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A school bus with 19 children on board the bus in the area of Barnstable Road and Winter Street. The bus was actually stopped for the red traffic light. A vehicle leaving Kentucky Fried Chicken, coming up between the Staples Building and Kentucky Fried Chicken, was attempting to make a right turn on the Barnstable Road, took the turn pretty wide and slammed into the left front of the school bus. Fortunately, the driver was not hurt. All 19 children were removed from the bus. None of them sustained any injuries. Hyannis Rescue Squad did respond. There were multiple witnesses to the accident. We responded. The operator was given a field sobriety test. She was identified as Haley Robinson, and she was subsequently charged with operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of alcohol at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and crashing into a school bus, which is pretty serious.
Indeed. Is there any extra investigation, Chief, that goes on with accidents involving a school bus and school children?
If there are injuries, we will notify the State Police Action Reconstruction Team. Of course, we'll notify the school department and all of the parents. But this one, because of the size of the bus and it was a relatively low speed accident, nobody was hurt, and the bus was stopped when the accident occurred. So.
Absolutely. Chief, kind of have a kind of silly question for you. The full moon, of course, is coming up tonight, and I know that kind of old wives' tale or hearsay that says things get a little funky when the moon gets full. Is that something that you guys notice over there at the Barnstable Police Department?
Well, it wasn't quite a full moon last night, but it was almost there. But unfortunately, the weather last night was between 25 and 30 degrees. That makes much more of a difference. It was very, very quiet last night. Between the hours of 6 o'clock last night and the time I came in this morning, there were only 3 arrests, 2 warrants of arrest and 1 for domestic violence. So that's a very, very quiet night for us. So I think the chill air has a lot more outcome on the crime rate than the full moon.
There are a few meetings at Town Hall. The Conservation Commission will meet at 6:30 this evening in the Town Hall hearing room, and the Waterways Committee will meet at 7. That meeting will be held in the Selectmen's Conference Room. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll have our weekly Business Barnstable segment. We'll chat with Finance Director Mark Milne. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.